Philadelphia, are you ready?
They said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Brotherly Love Wrestling, brought to you by me, the executive director, Bill Fry, the infamous one, your third favorite heel, along here with Larry Hall and Joe Corrado. So let's get this kicked off, shall we? I guess we'll start today with
there, so I didn't even get to hear you introduce me.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I said Joe Corrado. I said you're there, technically.
Yeah, he's there.
Uh-huh. He's
Go
there.
ahead, Mr. All hosts. What do we got in store for us today?
So I think we'll hit a
little.
little bit of NJPW Wrestle Kingdom talk. We'll hit a little bit of the Brodie Lee Tribute show and what would follow on from that. And we'll give a little bit of talk on the Monday Night Raw Legends Night.
I like how you stressed the Legends Night.
Legends Night.
Well, all right. So let's start with Wrestle Kingdom because it is New Japan's biggest show of the year, and a lot came out of it. You have a new double champion on night one, who is then defended against Jay White. Ibushi defeats Jay White, moves on, and then becomes. Retains as double champion. And then you have, which we love that New Japan does, the challenger for now is Sonata. And I think for New Japan, I think Ibushi is the right call going forward. I'm glad because I called that before it happened. And I think I'm not right that often. So when I'm right, I'm going to make sure everyone knows I'm right.
It's about damn time, honestly.
What's that?
It's about damn time, honestly.
I agree. Yeah, I think so too. I think it was his time, and I think that's why I thought that he should hold on to it and going forward so far.
All right, so what I heard after this, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this, is that Ibushi came out and he wants to unify the IWGP Intercontinental and the IWGP Championship and make it one title. Now you're taking two of the most prestigious titles around right now, and we're conjoining them to one. Does this hurt? Does this help? Does it matter? I mean, they have the IWGP United States title still as a secondary title.
I think that's part of the point is that they're trying to really push this U.S. title as something big because of them coming out on U.S. TV.
Yeah, I think that plays a big part. They don't want to come into a market with the same titles as someone who's been holding those titles in that same market for so long. Yeah. Yes, IWGP Intercontinental title might have been around for a long time, but what the fans that they're coming to, what they know is the Ultimate Warrior. They know Razor Ramon. They know Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Savage, recently The Miz, Daniel Bryan. I mean, those people that held their Intercontinental title, maybe this is their way of trying to set themselves apart a little bit. I mean, they're going to already set themselves apart coming over to here because they're going to be the most unique style that is on televised TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because we get glimpses of strong style, but we don't get the full...
the full allotment that they can do and that they put off, especially like if anybody has watched, if you watch night one or night two, the quality of match, the style of match, nothing like that in the United States, except when they come over to the United States, it ever happens, no matter what the company is, whether it's AEW, WWE, or any of the independents. It's so out of the box to American fans who maybe don't watch it that I know when we first watched it, it really blew me away. It made me appreciate that. Like I remember always going past going, I'm not watching Japanese wrestling. And then finally getting into why haven't I been watching this and being so stubborn? Because it's amazing wrestling and storytelling without even having to know the language.
Yeah, I think that is what initially hinders them. But I think as people I think this is a gradual growing process over here because there is a lot of sticklers of the language barrier and how, I mean, if you see it on TV today, I mean, granted, it's going to be a different audience to start off with. So if someone's speaking Japanese, you're not going to have those asshole fans going, what, because they garner a different respect. This is what they're a Japanese company. So of course they're going to have Japanese talent. So if someone were to go there and chant what, I think they would be immediately escorted out of the building. It's a completely different feel, a different respect. I mean, and that stays and that should die in WWE, that chant with Austin, because what turned into a fun way to get Austin even more over, or him getting himself even more over, has now been detrimental to the rest of the people that have been trying to get over.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
someone who doesn't speak the language that we speak.
Yeah.
But getting back to the Intercontinental title, I mean,
Yes.
if you're
As
making,
you didn't know there, Mr. Host, I take things as far in the left field and I leave them out there for as long as possible.
my thought
Like a
process
badger.
is thinking of it in a marketing terms. You're bringing the NJPW brand to U.S. television. You're
That's
trying
very
to get
reputable.
people to relate to your brand. Now, AEW has done it with, and Impact has done it with former WWE stars, people that wrestlers that people know. But the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, Shinsuke Nakamura has won it and is on WWE. Kenny Omega has won it, AEW. Jericho won it, AEW. And you're getting these people like into it, and then you can expand that. Like say, look at what WWE does. Brock Lesnar, former IWGP champion. They do it all the time. Like,
Well,
he's
here's
one of
what
the
I'm
only
thinking.
ones to win a WWE championship and an IWGP. AJ Styles, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, now it's time for US TV to see the other side. Former IWGP champions such as Shinsuke Nakamura and Kenny Omega.
I think this is more of and this is the actual reason I think that they're doing it. I think there's more of a pay of respect to Kota Ibushi, who's been working and working and working, has always been falling short every single time. And I think this is also a paving for a new face of the company. So I think that this is kind of like, I don't want to say his reward, but this is like the big show of respect from the company to you, that you are going to be the first ever to unify these titles, and this will be one title. So I think that, and bringing that story and whatnot over to American TV is very relatable too, because they've seen it. Just to go into your point, they've seen it. How many times they've seen titles unified over, I mean, between Randy Orton and Cena.
Jericho with the Undisputed.
Yeah, and those are very memorable moments. So I think by them, it's a show of respect for Kota Ibushi. So
And I get that, but
I wanted to touch on this and make this New Japan conversation kind of have some meat behind it, not just gloss over it a little bit.
But part of the problem is like, okay, so you're gonna have him unify these two titles. So what makes, all right, Bobby Lashley's run in Impact, right? What made him such a big deal in when he was in Impact? He won every goddamn title that they had.
Yeah, the belt
Every
collector.
title.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it make Ibushi that much more important if it's two separate titles that he holds and says, hey, all these people held this Intercontinental title and all these people held the heavyweight title, and he has both.
Yeah, but I think it's more. I think it means more if you're to say I'm the first. I'm the
I
first
agree. Yeah.
to do this. Yes, all of these people have done this. All of these people have done this, but they've never done this. They've never been the first. And I think that's the bigger pat on the back than holding this title that this person, that this person, that this person. I'm the first to do this. This company believes in me so much, they're willing to take this in this direction, and I am the first. I'm the inaugural IWGP Heavyweight Intercontinental Champion.
It just feels like they're.
You're holding on to nostalgia. Don't do that.
Well, no, it just feels like all the work.
If you want, I could segue us perfectly.
No, let's stay here for a little bit.
All the work that they put in to build up this title. Like, I mean, think about it this way. Okay, the first person to hold that title was MVP. And they built it up from there.
All right, but you know what? I think as well, if you're bringing it over like they're saying they're doing, and they're going to come to the U.S., I think another step in that direction has already happened, and it is happening. And coming out of night one is Jon Moxley finally now as the U.S. champion for IWGP, and saying he's going after whoever won that match, which ended up being Kenta. So now we're getting Kenta, formerly of WWE, not such a great run, but he was in the WWE. And now they're going up for that when they come to the States, or it's believed anyway. So now you have the AEW superstar who holds a New Japan title. And if they are doing this combining of the titles,
if this happens over in the States and they want to get the eyes on New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I don't know what kind of booking and who you have to appease by doing this, but having Kenta, who didn't get a great run in WWE, it was kind of looked at as like, he was always injured, he was a nobody. If he ends up beating Jon Moxley, who has revamped himself and was the longest reigning AEW champion, albeit not a huge stat at the moment, but he was also WWE champion. He's a pedigreed wrestler. If he were to beat him, now you have this guy who beat the former champion. And now you get more eyes on him, like, oh, let's see how good this guy actually is.
Well, truthfully, I mean, he held the WWE US title for 14 years and defended it, twice? So, I mean, Dean Ambrose held that title for a long time and never defended it.
Yeah, but that's not on him. That's
why
the booking.
Not? Why not?
You can't lose if you don't wrestle.
if you're going to make this U.S. title mean something, and have it be a title that you want to bring into the U.S. market, why not combine that with the Intercontinental title? Have Kota vacate the Intercontinental title, have a tournament, have Kenta win, and have both belts, and then combine them.
I don't like those two combined together. I like them more separate.
See, to me, that just establishes the U.S. title as meaning something.
Yeah, but then it's not the U.S. title anymore. It's still just the Intercontinental title.
Okay. Yeah, true.
You can. I mean, it's just. It would be
and I
two
get that,
weird titles.
But look at WWE. Which title has more prestige, the Intercontinental or the U.S.?
That's not fair because in the WWE it's the Intercontinental, but
because it's not a WWE title.
Yeah,
that came from WCW. That's why, and not that.
That's why they couldn't wait to fucking get rid of Big Gold. That's why they couldn't wait to get these new designs out here. For fuck's sake, they made a spinner belt, and they
had Big Gold for a lot of years though. Like they had it for a long time.
Yeah, they did because it is the most prestigious title in all of wrestling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you'd be stupid to try and get rid of it right away when you just took over the company or bought out the company that it came from or that was using it.
I don't know. I mean, if you're going to an American audience that casuals that know WWE and only WWE, an Intercontinental title is going to mean more to them than a U.S. title.
Here's the thing. I think they're coming in with the same game plan or the same type of strategy as AEW. They already have a very loyal fan base. Even over here, they have a very loyal fan base that some people still trump that over everything else. Like they will watch New Japan over AEW or WWE or NXT or Impact or anybody because they're that loyal of a fan base. I think they already come in with the pedigree. They've been around forever. They've been doing it, and their legends stack up pretty well too, and they are very well known over here. So if they were to ever get a fucking Brock Lesnar into their ring against a Okada, like you're looking at like this is a dream.
Mhm.
Like, and they could pull it off. I mean, I don't think WWE could pull that off, nor do I think they want to because they don't.
One of Brock's best matches was in
NJPW
NJPW against Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great match too.
So, I mean, I get it. I understand. I'm just thinking along the lines of marketing.
I think this conversation went in a different path that we thought it was going to go in.
Yeah,
But I did enjoy the path that it went.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I like that though.
What do you got next for us? You mentioned something about the Brodie Lee Tribute show. We didn't get to talk about. I thought that was as much an all class as it could have possibly been. It was the perfect show. Like, it was a show that very uncontrollable, unfortunate circumstances, but that was one of the first wrestling shows in a while that I was emotionally like. It felt like I was a kid, like the emotions that were running through me. Like, it felt like I was a kid again, and I was able to appreciate. I just shut everything else, and I think that was great. I think wrestling as a whole needed to watch that show.
Yeah.
I think you get a different outlook after watching something like that, and how everybody was visually emotional. Like, you're able to relate to that because wrestlers have to stay in kayfabe, and there's no emotions unless it's forced emotions. But this was real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think honestly, this was one of the best tribute shows since the Eddie one. Honestly, I honestly, I haven't had that type of emotion at a wrestling show since Eddie.
Yeah.
And I think that was it. Like, that had the same feel to me.
It was just great. It's all around as because you shut everything else out. Like, yeah, when the Dark Order is in the match, you want them to win, and you think they should win, and you're pretty much saying, yeah, they should win, and they did. But what happened, and the homages to Brodie Lee were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone did that a lot, probably perfect justice for that show. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to throw a curveball about that show, though.
Okay.
That I would like to get your guys' insights on.
Okay.
So, we talked about it being a one-off, not really the whole kayfabe thing, and wanting Dark Order to win, everything like that. Do you think it was right for MJF to stay in kayfabe and tweet out something like "fuck that kid"?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I just wanted to, because I
If
know
he's-
there was a debate going on about that MJF should have kept his mouth shut rather than say "fuck Brodie
No.
Lee's kid" on the tribute show.
Here's how I look at this. And I don't know him personally, and a lot of the fans watching don't know him personally. Only the people that really know him or people that have worked with him. That could have been a whole. This is what Brodie would have wanted. This is how he would have wanted this.
Mhm.
He doesn't want special. If this guy, because he respected the business so much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
From what we've heard and everything, like, he loved the wrestling business. He wouldn't want someone to break kayfabe, quote unquote, for him. He would want, and for him to use it in the way he did, it just burns him down even more with so much more heat. I think he would have wanted that.
What's going to happen to him? What's going to happen? Tony Khan going to suspend him? Like, you're going to get fined? Like, what's going to happen to him?
If they wanted to run an authority angle, maybe. But,
Yeah, but again, that would be just playing into the kayfabe.
yeah.
It was perfect. He needed to do that. He needed to, like, the whole thing of, well, the show must go on. Like, there was so much of the touching stuff and the perfect tributes and everything that it kind of fits for him to be that one guy. Be like, fuck that kid. Like, it fits perfectly. And not only that, look, he sold for the kid. He was front row.
Yeah.
He took the kendo stick. Like, it's not like he
took
refused
a
to do any
kendo
of
stick
that.
headshot.
Yeah, exactly. So he sold for the kid. So, like, it's all in that kayfabe, and he played it perfectly. He's such a dick. So it's perfect. Absolutely. I
fully agree. I was presenting the point that was brought up on
Looking down,
Twitter.
I'm sure Brodie was like, "That's right. I want to see my kid hit that asshole with it.
Right?
I would have hit him harder." He's
Yeah.
always saying, "Hit him harder next time."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, To speculate, it's hard because you don't know. We don't know. I mean, we can only go off what we see, and we don't know the people behind the scenes. So, I think if that's something that he would have said he wanted or he would have liked for MJF to not break kayfabe, and they have to respect that. I mean, and they probably did. I mean, the whole show they did the whole show justice.
And I mean, tell you the truth, Brodie Jr. is on a roll. He's pinned Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
he pinned Adam Cole. I mean, he
might be the most underrated wrestler in 2021.
He's beaten 4 former world champions in a week. I mean, talk about a workhorse. So,
well, transitioning from a show done perfectly into a show that probably shouldn't have happened at all, we're going to talk a little Monday Night Rawski. So I was in and out. I think I probably missed an hour total, which I don't think I missed too terribly much. But from what I saw, it was typical WWE. It was typical. It was, you knew what was going to happen. It was like their nostalgia acts aren't like, here's how I look at the nostalgia acts anymore. There's not many people that I want to see. Like the people that I would love, and of course this would never happen, the people that I would love to come back for a nostalgia act are the people that are dead. Like, I want to fucking see Owen Hart again.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
Like,
have the Tupac hologram fucking bring
not even
Ultimate
like that.
Warrior coming running down the ramp like
Savage? I want to see Savage. Or something like that. Like people that I miss. Like I don't miss any of the people that. I mean, God bless them.
You can't miss them. They keep bringing them back the
they
fuck
keep bringing
around.
them back. It's the same. It's the same round of people. Like.
They brought Mickey back as a legend, and she was wrestling like 6 months ago. Like,
well, it's still a contract.
That's the thing. You bring Alicia Fox, the Big Show, and don't get me wrong. There a lot of the people that they brought back. I love the Big Show. No matter how much he flip flops, I always love the Big Show. But Booker T, Ric Flair, who just finished a program with Randy Orton, like they're bringing back these legends. That, I mean, I shouldn't say legends like that because they are legends, but you're bringing them back when they were just here. Like, and that's like bringing back Shawn Michaels and Triple H. They're there all the time.
They can bring back Teddy Long as much as they want.
I agree. Teddy Long was like the only spot that was great.
He shouldn't be a nostalgia act. They should just rehire him. He should be on TV.
The only reason that I would be okay with bringing back that many legends is if Randy decides to go Legend Killer again.
Because if we get a damn every week, that doesn't run old. I love that. I love that.
What'd you say, Bill? I didn't hear what you said.
Is if Randy goes back Legend Killer. Like if that whole like Fiend.
He's already did it, and he did it to better legends.
Well, they do the whole after people wrestle the Fiend, they change. Like he goes back and then.
Yeah, but he won. Well, I guess so did Rollins.
Yeah, but you know what? With that, though, I don't know if it's because of this era of wrestling, but watching him do what he did to the Big Show, to Mark Henry, to those people, it wasn't cool Legend Killer. It was more like, you're a fucking bully.
Yeah.
And it just was uncomfortable. Like, him telling Mark Henry to wheel his ass out, like, it was just like, I didn't... If you're going to do the whole, and now that we're getting to this, the Goldberg thing of Goldberg coming out and wanting to wrestle or take the title from McIntyre and say, you don't respect anybody, which is bullshit because he's an uber babyface who does nothing but respect them. So that makes no sense in the first place. How about Randy Orton? Randy Orton was showing zero respect.
Drew McIntyre's the one that stood in a ring with a feud with Randy Orton and said, you know, I came into this business and you didn't give a fuck about me. You know, I was down in the dumps. I was going through rough patches of my life. I was about to get fired and you didn't give a helping hand. You didn't give a fuck about me. And all I did was respect you. He did a promo about how he respected the legends. And then they turn around and pull this shit? No, it's... I hope, honestly, that they book this fucking match and Goldberg knocks himself out again on the fucking door. They just...
You know Goldberg's winning, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he gets... I think he goes for a spear and he gets fucking claymored. And I hope that he comes out in a wheelchair the next week and goes, "You're right, you won."
Then what's the point? Then what's the point of bringing him back?
Ratings.
Ratings, yes. All right, so let me
honestly, after reading the reviews of last night's show, I'm happy that I had a migraine and was throwing up in the bathroom.
Hold on, wait. Let me ask you this for both of you. So, name one bigger name that is going to help McIntyre get over that he could face other than Goldberg. A bigger name than Goldberg, with a name that even some wrestling fans, non-wrestling fans, know.
Brock.
That is already done. So a second time. When he already did it. He already put him over. He put him over at the Rumble, put him over at Mania.
Still bigger name than Goldberg. And you're getting more fans than Goldberg.
All right, so that he hasn't faced. There's no one bigger as far as a well-known name, that unless you're pulling him from a different company, which is not going to happen for that title. What?
Kali. I mean, technically he's bigger.
The bigger. No, there isn't any, and that's the problem. And I'm not saying I want it to
Goldberg's
happen.
track record hasn't been. He's not putting these people over. He's been winning every time he comes back. He wins.
He beat the Fiend
every time.
He beat the Fiend.
He beat the Fiend with a suplex.
I know this. I'm not arguing any of that. I'm just saying isn't anybody.
What if this is a different? What if there's a different thing happening? What if Goldberg wins, but it's not to put over McIntyre? What if McIntyre loses to Goldberg, but someone costs him the match? What if Roman costs McIntyre, and that sets up for McIntyre Roman at Mania, and it sets up if Keith Lee wins the Rumble and challenges Goldberg? What if this is a grand scheme to put over Keith Lee?
Keith Lee should never be in the ring with Goldberg ever. Because honestly, that's just a complete waste of Keith Lee's talents. Don't get me wrong.
Not really, because
I love McIntyre.
Goldberg could go for a spear and get pounced, and I'm sure fucking everyone would love that.
True.
Honestly,
yeah, but to go off of Larry's point, which I half agree with, that Goldberg is still a name and he still is reputable. So if he can put someone over, though I don't think he should burn anyone en route to putting someone over, but he should still be there just to put someone over. Like, he's already burned. He didn't burn Brock because he's Brock, and Brock could always rebuild himself like that. But he burned the Fiend. I don't know if the Fiend has recovered fully from that yet.
Now going along similar to what you had said, what if the Women's Royal Rumble goes on last?
And Brock wins that.
No, he pulls a Santino.
Brock Lesnar.
Brittany Lesnar. No, so have you seen his daughter? His daughter could win the Rumble.
Oh, his daughter looks exactly like him.
And I feel bad for her because she looks exactly like him.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. So they put the Women's Rumble on last, right? The Men's Rumble goes on first. And whoever wins the Men's Rumble costs Drew the match against Goldberg. Along the lines of what you were saying earlier, Joe. And the winner of the Rumble, that's how they call out for the Rumble.
So if Keith Lee wins the Rumble and then comes out and costs McIntyre?
So you have you have a heel turn for Keith Lee, which I don't think is the route that they're going to
go. Well, the big rumor is Rollins wins the Rumble. That's the big rumor.
But see, all right, so wait.
He's like minus 500 in Vegas right now to win.
Don't go too far ahead because I want to go back to that. So, all right, so like we said, Keith Lee wins, costs McIntyre. So Goldberg is now your champion.
Yeah.
Goldberg was on the bump a couple months ago talking shit about Roman Reigns. They have Roman Reigns versus Goldberg for both titles, and you combine the titles, you then unify those titles, and Roman gets the ultimate push by having both titles, and Goldberg puts him over. And you get Keith Lee and McIntyre in this blood feud at Mania.
Or who's next for Roman then? Like
whoever comes out of Lee and
because
what you do is you have
unifying titles means Roman's on both shows.
Hold on.
I think
that would help with ratings.
I think the brand split is hurting them.
You have Goldberg put over Roman at Fastlane.
You have Roman put over
and then
Goldberg.
You have the winner of the Rumble face Roman for both titles at Mania.
I do like the unifying, and I do like Roman having it, and I do like Roman going to both shows because I think he ultimately helps both shows. But he's now just the top dog. So you have to be putting Roman in a position of power at first, but you have to be grooming people to beat him, people that you need to help build this company.
Or you have
can't
Drew,
hold those titles for a year. He's got to lose.
You have Drew lose the title to Goldberg, and then
Did we already say that?
Well, no. And then have Drew enter the Rumble, and Drew wins the Rumble, and then
And
you
cost
have
himself against Goldberg.
No, because he's saying you have Goldberg and McIntyre go on early, and then have McIntyre in the Rumble.
McIntyre
and he wins the Rumble again.
McIntyre takes somebody out and enters the Rumble, and takes their
you
position.
know what though? With that, I think
I don't like him winning again.
He's better as a chase anyway. I believe that McIntyre is better as a chase for the championship. So if he does put Goldberg over, and then we go to Mania, you have him win a second time at WrestleMania and overcoming Goldberg.
I don't know. I don't like
Hence Rocky 3 and Clubber Lang.
I don't like him as a chase. I like him more as the champion. I don't like him as a chase.
I agree. I think he's been a very, very good champion for the circumstances that he had to go through.
I don't think he should have lost it to Orton. I don't know if that was the number to get Orton's number above Triple H or whatever it may be. But I didn't like him losing to Orton. I don't think he is a good chase. I think he should be that dominant where he shouldn't be chasing the title.
Yeah.
I think him getting kind of sidelined and having to face Roman at a pay-per-view, that didn't really help him. But they were able to protect him a little bit by interference and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think he's one of their faces. I think they need him to be dominant. The problem is that they don't have any other faces of the company that they're grooming right now. So you're kind of leaning on two people.
And that's the biggest problem that WWE has.
That is the exact point that Mustafa Ali made at
what a fucking promo with Raw Talk. Bill, did you see that promo?
Yeah, I did. I saw it earlier today. And it's the problem.
Basically saying that what all the fans are saying is that we're tired of the part-timers, and you're not, if you keep bringing in part-timers, you're not helping the current and next generation of wrestlers.
Well, yeah, because the main complaint with WWE since The Rock and Stone Cold left, and especially after Cena left, is they're not building new stars. They don't build new stars. So all they do is they start to build a new star up, and then they have a legend come in and beat them.
Like CM Punk?
Yeah, CM Punk was the beginning of that. And it was on and on and on from there. And that's why they have to bring in Goldberg, because there are no names. You haven't built a Keith Lee to that level to where you can start having that battle. You haven't had, obviously, Karrion Kross is very new, but Karrion Kross is not to that level yet. And are they going to build him to that level? We don't know. But main roster, you don't see it happening because they haven't had a reputation of doing it yet.
Honestly, I don't know why we're fantasy booking. It's going to be Rock versus Roman at Mania.
No, it's not.
Really? You don't think so?
I really don't think it's not. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think The Rock signed off on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I want that.
Unless they were able to do something incredibly non-WWE and keep this under wraps, like they did with the Hardy Boys, and The Rock is comes in after the Rumble.
I mean, The Rock showed up after the Rumble when Roman won it in Philly.
Well, yeah, that was
and nobody knew he was showing up after that.
Yeah. I just can't see it.
They got booed out of the ring.
Yeah. I think WWE is in trouble when it comes to, especially down the road. When you have Roman, when you have McIntyre at their best, in their prime, you're literally booking yourself into a corner because there's nowhere to go. You can drop the title all you want to Orton or to Edge, whoever you're bringing back. There's not a lot of guys bigger than those names right now. And if you want to bring in Brock Lesnar, bring in Brock Lesnar. But there's no one they're building that you can put up there believably and be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because they're not building anybody. That's why I think these brands have to come together.
They're not building anybody because they don't know how to. They've always gone off the old adage of the biggest guys get the biggest spots and the bigger draw. They don't have a draw. There's no draw.
Speaking of the biggest guys, we can't negate Big E.
And that's the thing.
They have been trying to build him up. He got new theme music and
he's the Intercontinental Champion.
But but it's still he's still a while away from that. Like they're still, again, it's still a very slow burn.
All it takes is one solid storyline with a top guy to prove that you deserve to be there. I mean, look at it. Daniel Bryan did it.
Kofi.
Kofi did it.
Kofi didn't even start his build until like right before the Rumble. That's when Kofi shit started. And look at it. Mania was nuts. They built it literally like trashing him for 3 weeks, and then he was built up for Mania.
No, I know, but to get it is one thing. To sustain it afterwards, like Bryan got hurt, which hurt him, but he came back and he was still Daniel Bryan. He still had that name. He still had that pedigree. Kofi wanted it. It's almost becoming an afterthought. It's almost like they didn't, because he has the New Day and they didn't want to break them up, so they kept them together. We don't know if Kofi were to go out on his own, if he would have stayed one of the top.
Yeah, so having a 15-second squash match is not exactly going to build up his championship resume.
No, and that's another thing that hurts, is that someone comes in who's also part-time for the most part and takes that spot. I mean, they need people that can sustain this momentum that they give them, because they get this momentum and they carry it. It's just that once they get their big payoff and they win this championship, it's almost like, okay, we gave them what we wanted. Now we're going to go back to what we know. We don't know how to do the other thing. We don't know how to continue to be creative and keep this person where we need them to be, because A, we don't trust them because they're not Stone Cold Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan or any of these people, because you haven't given them a name. They've never been in this situation before.
Yeah.
And I think it's the 50-50 booking as well. Like you said, it's all right. We're gonna have Keith Lee beat Orton at a pay-per-view, and then we're gonna take him away and we're gonna send him to Performance Center.
I'm gonna throw in on this. So NJPW, we talk about all the time. They build stars. Like, look at Evil. Went from like tag team to fucking Evil.
Yeah.
And my thought process is, and we've talked about this before, there's just too much WWE. NJPW could build stars because there's anticipation build-up. Like, their shows aren't every week, twice a week, for 5 hours a week. Like,
yeah, but they're
6
not. They're
or
also
7
not
if you
on.
include NXT.
But they're not doing what a global force like WWE is, a publicly traded company like WWE is, and it's all about the money. That's the biggest, I think. Unfortunately for the fans, it's the biggest issue of them being a publicly traded company, because now you're answering to stockholders, you're answering to USA, to Fox. There's too many people in that pot.
But that factors into what you said about the 50-50 booking. Because they have so many shows, they have to 50-50 book. They have no choice. And that's part of the problem, is that you can't build reliable stars when you're overexposing everyone. And that's part of the problem. But I honestly think,
if you're overexposed, but you're overexposed and you're trending in the right direction, it doesn't matter if you're overexposed. That means you're getting the right exposure and you're doing something with it.
Yeah, but then they kill the momentum.
You see this person win one, and then two matches later, they lose. It's just like, with all this.
They also have their champions lose in non-championship matches on Raw and SmackDown. They also have, not with Roman, obviously, but like, you also have, situations where, like Kofi, where he got fucking squashed and killed that. Like, he had a run, and they just fucking killed it because they wanted Brock as champion for SmackDown's debut. And it's
another reason why the network needed that.
Yes, exactly.
Or wanted that.
Honestly, I think they have potentially, if they book them right, they have the next big stars already.
They do, but it's how big of the star can they be?
I think, honestly, somebody like Montez Ford could be astronomical if they let him be him.
Which so far they have, surprisingly.
And that's the thing. If they let Montez Ford be Montez Ford and keep doing what the Street Profits are doing, but solo, And God forbid he ever turns heel and they let him do what he wants to as a heel.
Yeah.
He's going to skyrocket. Same with
Yeah,
Big E.
you're
If they
right.
let Big E do his own thing and be Big E, he's a star. Keith Lee, same thing. Keith Lee's not as good on the mic as those two, but Keith Lee is also huge and athletic as fuck.
That Keith Lee we saw in the ring last night is the Keith Lee that should be WWE champion.
And that's
He
the
was
thing.
the facials. I mean, obviously the moveset's ridiculous, and that Spanish Fly, even though we saw it through 3-4 times with Dijakovic, it's still to put McIntyre up there, who's probably close to the same size as Dijakovic, was insane.
Yeah.
T-bar, whatever. But
Well-
I mean, that's the thing. It's amazing. So I think Keith Lee is, like that. He just, the chains have to come off. They got to do that. They have to let these guys go, and women go for that matter. A lot of the women, they're still very handcuffed. And I think once WWE does that, or once Vince
There's only
goes
4
away.
There's only 4 women that aren't handcuffed. Now, well, when Becky comes back, there'll be 5. They didn't the 4 horsewomen, they're not handcuffed, and Asuka.
Yes.
Everyone else has to fall in line.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
And maybe Nia. I don't know if Nia's handcuffed or not. I don't think she is. I
Nia's,
feel like at any point she could be
Nia's
going
not
for the
handcuffed. She's mentally handicapped.
Whoa.
She is awful.
We don't let him host no more.
No.
She is awful. She is terrible. She's terrible.
Yeah, she's not a good wrestler. We know.
So wait, before we end this, let's do something we typically don't do a lot of, and that's previewing. But the card coming up tomorrow night, New Year's Evil, for NXT is obviously takeover worthy, and to have O'Reilly Balor 2, it's just the expectations are sky high, and I'm really interested to see what these two can pull off now. After that first match was crazy.
Of all the matches I saw, and I didn't see every match, so shame on me, I guess. That was my match of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing close, I don't even know. I think you're right. I think it's a runaway.
I don't know if it's a runaway. There was a lot of good matches, surprisingly, in 2020 because you were able to focus more on the matches.
Mhm.
But I think that was the best one.
And
And what was it? Walter versus
Dragunov.
yeah. So
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
I
as
didn't
well.
see that one, so I can't put that
Yeah.
up there.
No, that's up there. I'll
Honestly,
say
that was the best match of the year, hands down. Walter Dragunov. That's I honestly I loved Balor O'Reilly 1. I thought it was incredible. It had nothing on Walter. Walter versus
pretty
Dragunov.
big praise.
I
I can't not say anything bad about it. I agree. I thought it was amazing.
Well, one of these days I'll watch it.
Well,
and then
the thing is honestly, I think Walter should have won the Slammy for Superstar of the Year because honestly,
Why did you
every
put that-
match he's put on in WWE has been fucking incredible.
no, yeah, Walter has been a pleasant surprise, and and I also think there's 2 more matches, but like the one I know I'm looking forward to the most is the Thatcher and Ciampa match in the pit,
I don't think that's going to be much of a match. I think they're just going to beat the living hell out of each other.
and I'm for it.
Okay.
Absolutely, hell yeah!
I'm just trying to
I love the
gauge where you're at.
Thatcher style mixed with Ciampa is phenomenal, and I can't wait to see it in the pit.
I think there's going to be blood.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm other than Balor O'Reilly, obviously. I'm actually really interested in the Damian Priest carrying Cross match.
Oh yeah.
Honestly,
Yep.
carrying Cross coming back off of injury, they booked him to the moon to win the title and then he got hurt.
I don't think he takes a step back on this one. I think he fucking bulldozes them.
I think he trashes Damian Priest, honestly. I
think
think
it's the
Damian
same
Priest
thing.
puts up a fight, but I agree. I think
is
carrying
what
Cross
it's
just
running
runs
now.
over him.
You got to remember, they're running 2 hours on TV, and I think there's going to be one that's not going to be a barn burner. I think that's going to be it. Because what's the women's match? Is that
Rhea
Io
Ripley
Shirai
versus Raquel Gonzalez. Last
Yes,
woman
that one's
standing
gonna be
match.
long.
Yeah, see, so that you're right. I
So
think you're
that's
right.
That's going to be a long match.
Yeah.
I think that might be the squash. Well, not squash, but the
I think he's
shortest
going to
match.
bulldoze them. I think they're going to give O'Reilly and Balor time, and I think he's still looking at 15 minutes for the pit match.
Mhm.
Yeah. Plus, you've
And those
also
are the
got
ones that were announced.
you've
right?
also got Santos Escobar versus Grand Metalik for the cruiserweight title. That'll be pretty quick. That'll be a 10-minute match at most.
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, about 10. Yeah, that
They'll
sounds right.
they'll do a few
Video
rope tricks. They'll do a
packages
few
and
high
commercials.
flies. It'll be over.
You're figuring 20 for your top 3, 10, 15. Yeah, plus commercial time.
hmm
I think we just booked.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get a sponsored, limited commercial kind of thing
Yeah,
going on.
That would be great if they ran the whole thing without commercials.
At least the main event.
The
Yeah.
whole thing.
The whole night, the whole 2 hours.
Fuck it. You want
2 hours,
to
no
win the
commercials.
ratings
Well,
war? No
theoretically,
commercials.
they would still run advertisements. They would just say, where there would be a commercial break, they go, "Oh, brought to you live without commercial from so and so," and then they
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
like a
someone would have to
5-minute
buy
read
up all
or
the
5-second
ad time.
read.
Yeah.
Someone would have to buy the ad time. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I give you $5. Can I have that ad time? No, sir. Fuck.
But I
We talk the trips.
Ripley Gonzalez will go long. Ciampa Thatcher, I think it'll be 10 to 15 minutes, but I think it's going to be like all out
Brutal.
10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Priest Cross, I think, is going to go quick. And Balor O'Reilly, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave them like 35 minutes, honestly.
I think you see that match starting at like 9:20.
Yeah. I agree. I think they might go over. I think they'll go to
They'll
like
take their
10:05.
5-minute grace period.
Yeah, I think they will with this one.
Well, you have to give 5 minutes for Balor to get to the ring. So
Well, I think we can cut it off there. We covered a shitload. And next week we have do we have anyone next week?
No,
No, we don't. Okay. So
but we could. I
But,
don't know.
but just keep an eye on our social medias at 215 Wrestling and keep your eyes open because I'm sure we'll find someone to come on and join us. So we hope you enjoyed the show. Remember to follow our Twitch, twitch.tv at Brodie Lee Wrestling. Of course, like, subscribe, 5 stars for all of our shows all across all platforms. And we hope you enjoyed the show.
Enjoy the show.
And thank you to our guest host, our executive producer, Bill. Thank you again. All right, but everybody, have a good one and enjoy Wednesday.